What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Bleed Lows podcast. The Dodgers are sitting on top of the MLB rankings. Our young players are showing out. And do we need to worry about Edwin Díaz? All that and more coming up next. Hello again and welcome back. Anthony and I are your co-hosts tonight, and producer Roger is behind the scenes. Before we get into everything, we want to let you know about DodgersBeat.com. Stay up to date and in the know with all of the latest coverage on the LA Dodgers. It is your one stop for articles, interviews, contests, merch, and more. Never miss a beat, and check out DodgersBeat.com. What's going on, Anthony? It's been a hot minute since I've talked to you. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a minute. I think the last time I talked to you was actually at the stadium. We're counting in person, having a conversation. That might have been, it's going to be 10 days ago now. It's kind of been a little bit more over the week, but I've been excited. I've been chilling. The adrenaline, it's going to sound like I'm a little bit amped up. I am. I just finished watching WrestleMania. As you can see, I got my nice little gear on. So anytime, it is even wrestling itself. Like if I watch UFC or boxing, like I think everyone's adrenaline just gets going because like it's action sports and stuff like that. So I might be a little bit amped up to talk Dodgers right now.
I love it. Yeah, my brother-in-law is huge on that too. So all amped up. Definitely, I can relate. Yeah, we have a lot to be amped up about. But yeah, we did get to see each other. That was so much fun. We haven't seen each other since last season at the stadium.
Yeah.
So really cool getting to see you. It was a really cool night too. We got our show. It was the Shohei night. The
Yeah.
Shohei heads. I got to see your mom and dad. How did your dad enjoy his birthday celebration at the stadium?
He enjoyed it apart from like the disaster that was getting out of Dodger Stadium parking. Apart from that, he had a really good time. It's funny because before Muncy hit that homer, they kind of had made their way up to the top to go use the restroom, and I was gonna send him a text like, "Hey, if Muncy gets the last out here, like we don't have to stay for extras. Like let's go home, get some dinner, kind of enjoy the rest." And before I can even hit send, Muncy hits it like 4 or 5 rows up the pavilion, and like we're all celebrating and stuff like that. Uh, he had a great time. My mom had a great time. It was a great night overall, apart from getting out of the parking structure. Well, it's not structure, but parking area basically.
I know it has been extra packed. I tend to go a lot at the top of the season. So I think I've been there 6 or 7 times already, which is kind of nuts. And almost every single time I've either been in overflow or I've almost been in overflow. And this is the first season that has happened. So that's telling you how many people are going to the stadium. It has been packed and it has been popular. But yeah, let's get into all of it. Starting with just where we're at right now. Dodgers are 15-6. We're at the top of the rankings, but we are on a 2-game losing streak to the Rockies, as we predicted that was going to happen. And it's Sunday, so it always happens on Sundays.
Yeah.
But I want to get your thoughts on Colorado so far. Now we still have one more game to go. It's a wraparound series, so kind of an unusual four-day set of games. But we had some really cool things happen. We've seen Max Muncy show out. We've seen a new call-up, but I want to just kind of get your main takeaways from what we've seen so far in Colorado.
Main takeaway is let's play this game and let's get the hell out of Colorado. It feels like there's been different like variables to each game. The first game was a snow game. I don't, even though it didn't snow during the game, but like the pictures that were coming out and like the stuff that players were posting was insane. Second game was kind of like a toss up. I felt like we had opportunities to kind of win that game late, kind of threw it away. And today it was kind of just a catastrophe. The bullpen kind of just imploded towards the end. Roki also kind of again he went back to struggling after he got through that lineup initially that first time in a row. I really thought this was going to be the one where he was going to glide through it. It's just for whatever reason the fourth and fifth inning are kind of like the areas where this is where the struggle is, and if he finds a way out of it, I feel like he's going to have more success. Unfortunately, right now it's kind of been like the stubborn areas, these fourth and fifth inning where like you see it right in his pitch count. Like he threw I think 25 pitches in the fourth, and in the fifth inning he couldn't get out. He threw 29 pitches. So for me, it's just part of the process. It's a little frustrating right now. Losing two in a row is never fun, but hopefully we can bounce back, get a win tomorrow.
I think we will. I think we'll at least split the series. But yeah, Coors Field is always kind of a weird place. Beautiful to look at. I mean, it was kind of a dream of mine to actually go there. I love that Emmett Sheehan was making snowmen, and it was just kind of fun to see some of those images. But yeah, I can't imagine how cold it was. Glass looked great. Yeah, Sasaki. He's still developing. I think we need to remember that. But, at least he's making it out of at least the first and the second okay. But, again, we still have to kind of give him a little bit more of a leash. What I like seeing today was kind of fun. I always like seeing new players come up. What did you think of Ryan Ward? I mean, he had his RBI. His whole family was there. Kind of cool.
Yeah, it was kind of like the situation where like, will Ryan Ward ever play for the Dodgers? And that kind of answered itself today. Freddie
Yeah.
Freeman going on the paternity list. Hopefully everything goes well and we'll have him back soon. But it was interesting to see him kind of get that start. I think initially it was supposed to be Dalton Rushing who was supposed to get the start. And they kind of campaigned for him, like, hey, like, give him the start here and let's see what happens. And he came through. He had 2 hits, played pretty well, unfortunately, in a loss. But I'm going to be honest, I never thought we would see Ryan Ward play for the Dodgers. It just always felt like Cody uses the example of DJ Peters, even though he did play for the Dodgers, but he was quickly, very ceremoniously, like, let go from the Dodgers soon after. So we'll see if he's able to stick. Hopefully he continues to perform well and kind of gives the front office a chance of like, hey, like I belong here, even if it's for like a cup of coffee, but I do belong up here in the major leagues.
Yeah, I think I was kind of happy to see him again. I wasn't sure how soon or if we were going to get to see him, but I love seeing the young guys come up and really you can tell how much it means to them. So wishing him nothing but the best as he continues on, and hopefully we'll get to see some really cool things. But I definitely want to talk about Diaz because we talked about the bullpen, or we saw the bullpen today, and that was an interesting saga. But we hadn't seen him pitch since I think it was the game that we were at back on
Yeah.
April 10th, right? It was the last time we pitched. That he gave up was, I think, if I remember correctly, we were up 7-4 going, top of the ninth or whatever it was. And he did not, he gave up the 3 runs, and that became interesting. We still won that game. And then we kind of know that he has been kind of battling, what was it, the right knee?
Yeah, knee issue.
Okay. And then we see him today, and I was really curious about what he was going to look like because I don't want to obviously panic yet. It's April. But what were your thoughts on Diaz and kind of is it just the Edwin Diaz experience, as some Mets fans would say, or should we be worried about him a little bit?
Well, I'm gonna go back to the game we saw him at. The whole trumpet thing is very cool in person. It gets you kind of amped up. I knew he had that strikeout against Peterson, but it got overturned with ABS, and it kind of just unraveled from there. He gave up that 2-run homer, and then he got some traffic on, and then the guy who kind of forced to tie the game kind of just got a slap me single into left field. So I kind of pushed that. I'm like, all right, this sucks, but not all closing opportunities are going to be perfect. It's just like, let's learn from it and then move on. But then the things that were coming out from the Dodger dugout and like the clubhouse and from like the stuff that we were posting post-game interviews and stuff like that, they were kind of being kind of like sneaky or like, I don't want to say shady, but like they
Right.
weren't very clear about like what was going on. He was saying he was fine. Then he went to go get like testing done on him, and like those came back clean. So like, why were you being so secretive about like his performance? Like, and then you come out later and saying like, oh, he's dealing with a knee issue. So
Yep.
for me, if he's dealing with a knee issue, like what's the point of having him like kind of gut it out now in April? If it's really hindering him, like why don't you just shut it down for 2 weeks and like we'll see where he's at or however long the knee issue is bothering for him. Um, and then today's performance was kind of worrying. I would love to say it was Coors Field, but considering his last outing was also very bad and it's 2 in a row, I'm like, oh, is this going to be something that we just have to deal with? And it doesn't help either that the guy before him, Blake Trinan, didn't get an out either. So it kind of like our high leverage guys kind of just blew up today.
And we're going to have moments like that. So it kind of worries me about Roki games because you kind of already know he's probably not going to go long into the game, and that puts the onus on the bullpen to have all the guys that are going to come out have to have a solid night, and that's not always going to happen. That's what scares me about those. But we're going to lose what, 60 games. This is going to be one of
Yeah.
them. It is okay. But I got to talk a little bit about Shohei. So many thoughts on him since we last did a show. But he's on a really cool streak right now. I mean, I know the scoreless inning streak has since ended, but he's still on his on-base streak. What is it? I think it's 51 as of today. Is that
It's
right?
51 now because I think he needs 2 more to pass Sean Green, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's I mean, we already knew he was going to break some records. Things were going to happen all season, but he's kind of putting up not just the on base streak. He's really kind of making a name for himself to possibly have some Cy Young chatter, because as of right now, and kind of taking all his starts into account, he has a .50 ERA on the season. I mean, do you see that Shohei has his eye on the prize? Because, I mean, when the guy sets his mind to something, the guy does it, and he's looking pretty darn good. What do you think?
I think he does have his mind set on the Cy Young. We discussed this in the offseason pods that that's probably the one thing that he wants to achieve, apart from being a three-time champion and all that fun stuff. It's the individual accolades, and I've said it before. I wish these guys were a little bit more selfish when they were chasing individual accolades because I feel like this is a final qualifier for these guys to be Hall of Famers. And Shohei is a no doubt Hall of Famer, but like, a lot of these borderline guys, they'll kind of hold it against them, like, well, he didn't really do this and that throughout their whole career, and they'll use playing on a super team as the Dodgers are as kind of against them. But for me, he looks very locked in. I'm also very interested. I know he got dinged up when he got hit, and they didn't have him DH that same day he pitched. I wonder if that's something they'll do going forward. Kind of like, hey, like we want you to rest this day. Like just focus solely on pitching. Like don't worry about DH. And when like a guy like Dalton Rushing is raking, it kind of makes it a hard argument to be like, well, we really don't have anyone back there that we trust for you to kind of like take a day off when you're hitting and just focus solely on pitching. But like with guys like that are completely like on fire, you kind of have to give them more opportunities to get ABs, whether it's a DH or if like Rushing plays first base and replaces a Freeman for a day and stuff like that. So again, we said it, iron sharpens iron, and I feel like that's kind of be the theme of the rest of the season. Like these young guys, they're going to give a reason to Dave to like find areas to play him, even if it's for like a few innings or so.
How great is it that Rushing is like coming through the way he is? Because you know me, I was wanting my Wart vet, but now I'm really liking that. They saw what I'll never see. They know all the behind the scenes things about him that are going to be successful. Isn't it great to see him come up and really show what he's capable of?
Yeah, it's also funny because there was a chart that went out on Twitter a few days ago where they had the WAR leaders for catchers, and we have two of those guys on our team. It's Will Smith and Dalton Rushing. Last year, I think maybe things were a little bit sped up for Rushing, trying to find your footing, don't know what to do routine wise, and working with all sorts of guys in the rotation and stuff like that. And now that you have the luxury of not only being with them last year, but you had a full off season to kind of get adjusted to what life is as a big leaguer and then a full spring training as well too. He also caught a lot of those games when Will Smith was away with Team USA and the WBC, so that probably helped him a lot in his development. So for me, it's exciting to see him perform and kind of get rewarded for performing very well. We'll see if he continues to perform very well. Surely a lot of these guys start off hot but don't finish the season hot. I'm kind of interested to see where his trajectory goes for the rest of the year. But whenever I see his name penciled in, I don't have to worry about it because I know he's going to perform well, play well.
Yeah, and I'm not worried. And what I like seeing. I like seeing that his confidence is showing. And I really think that, I mean, coming to the Dodgers, just being through the Dodgers system, that can't be easy for anyone, whether they, came up through our farm or not, to be on this championship caliber team. I mean, like you say, iron sharpens iron. You're going to naturally get better just by being around these. But that kind of just brings me back to Shohei for just a second because this relates. There was a really cool, fun fact that came out just a few days ago about what happens after some team intentionally walks Shohei in the last 2 years, now going into 3, since we had him per Optistats. Dodgers hitters in plate appearances immediately following an Ohtani intentional walk since he joined the team, they have a 457 batting average, 525 on base percentage, and 714 in slug. And that has been no other MLB team in the last 50 years that has had that kind of a slash line. I mean, I knew that casually watching, like you notice when Shohei walks, someone hits behind him. And that kind of leads me to think, just by merely having Shohei on the team, does that naturally make other players better or want to be better just by being around him?
I don't know if it makes them naturally better. I think it just kind of creates opportunities that probably wouldn't be presented if he wasn't in the lineup. I go back to the 24 World Series where he kind of was ineffective after game two, after his shoulder kind of dislocated and he kind of was just a decoy. But again, the lineup depth that we had, you had guys with Freeman that was on fire, you had Mookie who was slugging, and you had Teoscar who was on fire as well too. So it kind of didn't give guys an opportunity in the opposing team to kind of get an easy out because the if Shohei still connects on one, even with injury, it could be a big problem massively, and stuff like that going forward kind of gives confidence to the rest of the team because of that. If we know he's hurt, uh, that
Yeah.
kind of leads us to believe like, wow, he's out there kind of grinding. Like there's no excuse for us. We're fully healthy. It's interesting to see that they still like walk him. At this point, I kind of would kind of take my odds against him. Like I'd rather like because he's not always gonna come through, and I would rather like
Yeah.
okay, if anyone's gonna beat me, I'd rather it be him than someone like behind him. And the worst case scenario is like if you walk him and let's say he steals a base and now he's in scoring position, it kind of gives an opportunity to score a run there, and it gives confidence to the rest of the lineup to kind of keep it moving forward, forward, forward. So I don't know why they continue to walk him, considering the guys behind them are easily as scary as him. Maybe it's just kind of a strategy thing where they're like, we know he's the best player and he has the opportunity to switch the game out in like one swing, and he always has done that. But for me, I kind of would rather face him than kind of give another guy an opportunity to beat us.
I just think like when you saw Mookie would go after an intentional Shohei walk, some fire just gets lit under them, and they're just like, okay, well, I'm good too. I'm an MVP too, or I could, show you. So I just like kind of see in a way I kind of like seeing it because I like to see what's going to come next. But yeah, I want to kind of just stick with something that it seems like forever ago, but Shohei has pitched twice since the last time we recorded. And if you remember back to the Jays series when he was on the mound, did you catch remember our favorite guy, Springer? Who was, I guess they said he wasn't complaining, but he kind of was complaining about the time that Ohtani got, kind of like was questioning it. And Dave Roberts was a little bit pissy, like, what are you doing? Did you notice that? Or do you think that Springer was just making a big kerfuffle out of nothing and just, rich coming from Springer himself? I just wondered what your thoughts were.
Yeah, I think it's ultimately just something out of nothing. I mean, before Shohei and before the DH in the National League, I'll use Kershaw for example. Once he was done batting and he was the last out, the umpires kind of gave those guys an opportunity to like get back to normal, get back to a rhythm, kind of get ready because they're not natural hitters and they're up there as supposed to be pitching. And like the last thing you want is your starting pitcher to run around the bases. Okay, and like now he only has like 30 seconds to get ready and start like practice pitching and all that. So I think it's something out of nothing. I think guys are just complaining because it's Shohei and he doesn't have to play defense. He's a DH. But I'd argue when he's pitching, he gets all the luxury he can because he's doing both. And even if the inning ends and let's say he's on base, I don't want him to rush it and rush through his routine and his normal rhythm, kind of just to force the issue and to kind of be ready when he doesn't have to. Again, they're arguing over what, like the difference is like what, an extra 30 seconds? Like, is he really going to gain a competitive advantage because he had like three more extra warm up pitches compared to your guy who probably maybe had 10 total and Shohei had 12? I don't know. I think it's just complaining to complain, basically.
And it's Springer. Ugh, and he has no right.
Yeah.
He's given up his, his complaining, rights for the rest of his life. But want to go back to the Rangers series for a second. We were actually at one of the Rangers games and we went, so it feels again like forever ago. And we saw Seager give up that 3-run bomb, which I love Seager, even when he does something against us, I'll always have a soft spot for him. But what was it that your friend said on that text? I thought it was hilarious that he actually went to work and called it.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of freaky because I had told him that I was going to be at the game. And again, I don't really pay attention to the text while I'm at there, but this is kind of right after we met up, or right before, I think right after. And like, I still had my phone out because I didn't want to like put it in my pocket. And I get that buzz from my buddy. And he's like, what if Seager kind of just gets a hold of one here and hits a 3-run homer? But that's an ongoing joke that we have. We say that like about like Shohei, like if Shohei's up, like watch Shohei's going to take it out. Or like where we're watching just random games, like what if like Tatis just gets a hold of one here and goes like 450 deep and like there's nothing we can do about it. That's kind of our own little like inside joke. We do it about every single player. He just so happened to be right. Like immediately the next pitch, like Seager gets a hold of one, and to Glasnow's point, center cut fastball, you leave that there to any big leaguer and they're going to do exactly what Corey Seager did, which is hit it out for a home run. Again, I have no hate for Corey Seager, and I love there was a lot of social media posts going around of like people kind of interviewing Dodger fans, and they all kind of agreed with Seager. Like, there's no hard feelings. He's like one of ours. We're happy for him. We happy that he got his World Series. I think a year after he left us, or a year before we won as well too. So for me, whenever I see him play, I'm kind of happy to see him play. He got a nice ovation. That very first at bat, didn't get a nice one afterwards because he went deep in that first at bat. But yeah, it's kind of a little freaky thing that I got that text and immediately after he went deep.
That's hilarious. Such a jinx, but I love it. I mean, Seager can do no wrong. I don't care what he does. I love him. But yeah, in that same series, I thought something was also kind of funny, a little scandalous. Wasn't sure if it was real or not, but there was a potential or almost collision, kind of looked very similar to the World Series, Kike, Andy Pajes, who I want to talk about next. But did you see that they almost collided in the same fashion as the Kike Pajes collision in the World Series? And there was a little bit of a back and forth in the dugout, a little of chirping, I guess, and Miguel Rojas had to get in the middle, but it was kind of like, are they joking? Are they not? What were your thoughts? Because Pajes took it kind of serious. He thought
Yeah, it's a very funny thing to see it happen again. Pages kind of like he's very very fast, so he kind of gets there. At least compared to someone like Teo, when they're playing defense together, he gets there insanely fast. So it's no surprise that he kind of took over in that situation. It's a very haha moment right now because like no one got collided, no one got hurt. Um, I'm afraid if it becomes a habit, because every time I see like not even our guys, like just in general, guys collide and either like the ball gets dropped or is a miscommunication. There was one in that Ranger series as well too. I forget who was playing third base for the Rangers and Corey Seager, and they both kind of looked at each other and the ball just dropped between them because no one took charge of it. So that's
yeah.
my biggest fear. Like, yeah, these games in like April don't really matter as much compared to a game like in the NLDS. And then, for example, that happens and like they're both staring at each other and the ball kind of just drops between them in a big moment. That would kind of like piss me off. We're like, all right, like we kind of have to be sharp out here. Right now, it's very ha ha. It's very funny. I don't think anything came from that apart from like just jokes and stuff like that. Ended up winning the game as well too. But in the long run, I kind of want one of them to kind of like just take charge, whether that's Pajes and like he's just gonna be the I forget the character in the Bad News Bears, who's out in the outfield and kind of just taking charge of everyone. Like I'm gonna catch everything that comes in my general vicinity, basically.
I mean, he gets around. He's got quite an arm on him. So I always trust like if he does catch it, he has to get, the ball um to a base that he's going to make that happen. So I'm just loving watching Pajes. I mean, he's still in his MVP mode. I mean, do you foresee this continuing? He's just almost number one in so many of the categories that matter.
I hope so. I do think he can continue this. Again, it's early on. I do for sure see him as being potentially an all-star.
Sure.
But for a lot of our guys, I kind of want to see it more against better teams. I feel like the level of teams we played haven't really been that good, apart from like teams that I consider that might be in it in the long run. I thought the Mets would be in the long run, and they've probably lost like 11, 12 in a row now. But for me, I kind of want to see against more division opponents. I think we got San Francisco right after this as well too, and they're not really that good, but they're kind of a gritty team that could like pull out some results and stuff like that. I want to see like if they take us into the deep water, can the Dodgers respond and stuff like that? The Padres playing hot baseball right now. I think our first matchup against them isn't until like mid-May, so it's going to be a while until we even see them. So uh, we kind of have it like I don't want to say Mickey Mouse, but like the schedule is kind of like it favors us a lot, and I kind of want to see more tougher opponents. I think we have the Cubs coming up, and they've kind of been. I picked them to give us the toughest test of all time, and they've kind of been faltering early on to start the year. So I'm not going to blame them for schedule wise because you can only play who is in front of you. But I kind of want them to play a little bit better competition.
I really thought the Mets would be a little better than this. I think, as of today, they're on an 11 game losing streak. And yeah, I just want to talk about that Mets series because I guess, according to SportsCenter, it was the most expensive series in the history of MLB when the Dodgers played the Mets just this past week. Dodgers having a $413 million payroll, Mets with $375 million. And the Dodgers held the Mets to 4 runs, the entire series. I mean, is it Craig Kimbrell energy that needs to just be removed from the Mets? What is it? Because that is not the Mets. I mean, I get that they don't have Soto's injured. I get that there's, some pieces that are not in place, but my God, what is happening, Anthony? What's your take?
Again, ultimately, it comes back down to culture. The Dodgers have this ginormous payroll, and so do the Mets, and one of them is very successful, and the other isn't. It comes down to the type of superstar that you want to build your franchise around.
Yeah.
Francisco Lindor has been awful to start the whole season, basically. Juan Soto's hurt, but even then, when they're healthy, and you read the stuff that's going on online, it's kind of divided between two camps. Like you're either on the Lindor side or you're on the Soto side, and there's like no in between. There's no team camaraderie and all that. And for the Mets fans, they're very, very loyal to this team. You'll see it, like they suffer and like die with every living result. But ultimately, they're very tired of the same thing over and over again. They feel like they've been watching the same movie over and over again. And again, it comes back down to that word culture, the kind of culture that you breed from like the minor leagues up to your big league team. Um, you've heard many of these Dodger guys say it before. We have no leader. We all kind of go as one, and we all fail as one. Whether that's one game here or one game there, we kind of move on and like, all right, we lost this game. Let's get it over with, and like let's move on to the next one. The only guy that I came impressed with from the whole Mets series was Nolan McLean. He dominated. That was a very good start. Just unfortunately, he went up against Yamamoto that day. Just unfortunately, we just did enough to kind of win that game.
Right.
But other than that, apart from that, I know I was kind of advocating for like Bo Bichette to sign with us. I'm kind of glad we didn't go down that route. But I just don't see it with the Mets. It feels like every year they'll go out there in the free agency, they'll sign a big player, they'll try to put them into their team, and it just like fails in spectacular fashion. So I don't know how you fix this apart from like trying to like root out that like bad nature in their culture.
There's something there. There's definitely something there. Their fans are aware of it. I mean, it won't be too much longer before heads roll if that continues. And it's unfortunate because I know Steve Cohen really he put a lot of money where his mouth was. And I don't wish bad on the Mets at all. If anything, I really enjoyed watching the series we had with them a couple seasons ago when they were in the NLCS together. But this is just proof that, spending a shit ton of money does not translate into a winning team like everyone wants to accuse the Dodgers of. Because as of right now, all the teams, there's all of the like the AL East, AL West, NL East, NL Central, the teams with the highest payrolls in almost all of the divisions are either last place or second to last place, with the exception of the Dodgers and the Tigers in the AL Central. So you have the Blue Jays, they are second to last, which just today flipped to Boston. AL West, Astros, last place. Mets, last place in the NL East. And in the NL Central, the Cubs were, as of today, it flipped to the Brewers, which means that even though you can have the highest payroll in your division, that does not translate into a winning organization. Things could change. We have 162 games to play. It'll all balance out. But that just goes back to what you were saying about culture, because you could put the highest paid players on the field, but that doesn't mean it's going to gel. It doesn't mean that the franchise is doing all of the things that Andrew Friedman is doing and Brandon Gomes is doing and the management is doing to make this happen. So something to be said. We'll keep an eye on that. But the next thing I want to talk about, player, young guy, just a dog this past week, straight carved the Mets on Monday night, rocking a perfect game into the fifth. Tell me your thoughts on Justin Robleski.
Best way to describe it was dog. I'm actually kind of a little disappointed because I was kind of hoping they let him go into the ninth inning to try to get that complete game, but his stuff was getting a little bit bad towards the end of it, and I felt like 8 innings was perfect enough for him and did enough to get the job done. I'm excited to see his next start, which is tomorrow. He's going to get the ball tomorrow, so I'm excited to see where he can live up to it or not. For me, he kind of solidified himself as another starting option. I kind of want to see more Justin Robleski starts. It feels like him and Roki were kind of like battling for that last spot. And so far, I kind of give the edge to Robleski just because he can go further into games and stuff like that. And this stuff is very good as well, too. Again, I think Emmett Sheehan was in that group as well, too, but he kind of like pulled away a little bit. Had a little bit of a rocky start here, and no pun intended, against the Rockies. But I think a lot of these guys in Coors Field are going to have that regardless. I think if you see 3 runs given up in Coors Field, that's a solid victory considering what that ballpark can do to pitchers' ERAs and stuff like that. But for Robleski, good mix of stuff. Again, excited to see what he can do tomorrow against the Rockies. But for me, I think he's kind of solidified himself as a major starter going forward, whether it's a 5th spot or 6th spot. And we'll see if they kind of move him back to the bullpen. Hopefully not. I feel like he's done enough to kind of solidify himself as a starter for us.
I think it just goes back to there's something in him that believes in him. And you can see that he knows that he's going to go out there and he's going to just, kill it. He knows he has the stuff and he puts it into action. And I think it just really goes back to confidence in oneself. You can tell he's got that fire in him. And I like that. And so I really hope to see that continue. But while we're on the topic of bullpen, I love this story. Some things are just bigger than baseball. And on this past week, we saw Vesia come out. I think it was his birthday, if I'm not mistaken, but there was a healthcare appreciation night. I want to say it was Tuesday. And all of the people that were there for his wife and him when he was going through that situation with his daughter, they had a whole suite that was purchased for them, and they made kind of like, all the people that took care of him and his wife Kayla feel very special. They honored them that evening, and he went out there and he absolutely shut the door that night, and it was just so beautiful. You could tell how emotional Vesia was, but just tell me your thoughts on him that night, what we're seeing from him. Obviously, he's not going to have a perfect night every single night, but that night was special, don't you think?
Yeah, for me, this is the guy that I picked to be my bullpen dog of the year, and so far, it feels like he's delivered in every opportunity that's been presented to him. For me, the guy has been the glue for us for the past couple of years. Every time I wanted a lefty and a high leverage guy or a spot, is the first guy that I want out that bullpen is Alex Vesia. Mr. Trustworthy when it comes to situations like that. That situation as well. It was kind of a little special moment. He kind of pointed to them afterwards as soon as he got the third out in the little suite area. It's awesome to kind of he gives them a chance to honor everyone in healthcare night. We know everything that him and his wife went through, so it's kind of a nice little touching, feel good moment for them. For me, Vesia as well. I think going forward, I think he's kind of just going to be break class in case of emergency. I feel like whether it's against righties or lefties, and I see him coming out, I'm like, all right, he's going to find a way to get out of this. Again, most of our bullpen guys will go through ruts. I feel like he's gone through ruts as well too. No, more noticeably last year as well too. He kind of few noticeable kind of like mishaps and stuff like that. But as soon as they kind of go through it, he figures it out right away. And I would always have him penciled in my bullpen, whether it's in the playoffs or regular season going forward.
I just love him. I mean, he's such a good guy. I haven't met all the Dodgers there are to meet, but he is someone that I have had a chance to meet, and I swear he is just so genuine, such a good-hearted person. I just feel like he just fits our organization so well. He just cares so much, and wishing nothing but the best for him. But you could just tell in the stadium, you can tell with our fan base, they just are completely embracing him this season and making him feel, like we got your back, and he's got ours. And I feel just really excited to see how he'll keep that going this season. But I think you called it right. He's definitely the dog of the season so far. But yeah, let's kind of move our attention to news around the league. Lots of things have happened, and not my favorite team in the world, but I'm definitely actually happy for them in this aspect. Padres. They have, I guess, been purchased for 3.9 billion. Have new owners, so it's no longer going to be the Seidler family. Now, there's been a lot of tension since the original owner Peter Seidler passed away not too long ago, and now it's going to be owned by private equity billionaire Jose Feliciano, who's part of the Chelsea FC ownership group. Interesting. So I'm thinking that we could see some new things in the Padres. It's always kind of a journey to get adjusted to new owners, new leaders, but it could be a good thing for them. But they're already a good team, but this might be what they need to kind of, take them to the next level, not to beat the Dodgers, but I kind of like the move for them. What do you think?
Yeah, ultimately it comes back down to what we discussed with the not the Cubs, the Mets. Culture. They've had no problem spending on big time free agents, whether it's Tatis, whether it's Xander Bogarts, whether it's Manny Machado, you name
Yeah.
it, etc. You Darvish. They have no problem spending now. The problem comes in building that winning culture. Do you really want to build your culture around Manny Machado and the type of player he is? We've discussed it in a nauseum at this point. Is that the kind of guy that I would want to build my franchise around? But now, hopefully, with this new owner, maybe that's something where he kind of sees like, well, we have all these star players and like we're not winning anything. And like he looks at us and he's like, they have all that star talent. What's the difference that kind of gaps them between like having that superstar talent and ultimately getting to that last level? It's probably just having no ego. And it's impossible for in any sports to have a big time player with zero ego. I feel like if you look at basketball, football, soccer, etc., a lot of good teams falter because their superstar player just can't get over like how good they are and just put themselves over the team. And I think for us, we're kind of in that window where our superstar player doesn't really care like what accolades he achieves as long as the team is right there with them as well too. So ultimately, it comes down to culture. I feel like this is a good move for them. Uh, they have a lot of like they have an opportunity to kind of just like I don't want to say suck right now, but after the Shohei window, we really don't know what's going to happen with us.
Right.
Hopefully, we're like still competing at that high level, but let's say we have to go into a rebuild and we're like, okay, we got to figure out who our next star is to carry this next 10 years of Dodger baseball. And that might be kind of like the window for the Padres to be like, well, look, Goliath is down because they really don't know who's their next Goliath. They have to figure out their identity again. This might be the perfect time to kind of stack up some wins and stuff like that. I equate it to kind of like at the end of Kobe's last year and the Lakers just sucked for like 6 7 years. That was
Mhm.
kind of like the perfect opportunity for the Clippers to kind of like, okay, let's try to make a name for ourselves. And in Clippers fashion, spectacularly failed at each opportunity they had, basically. But you don't really get those kind of windows where like a very good team that's dominant in the city, like the Lakers, are awful for such a period of time, and
Right.
like a team like the Dodgers, maybe post Shohei, you're looking at like, well, Shohei's gone, Mookie's retired, Yamamoto's like in his mid 30s. Like, what's the future of our team look like, basically? So you kind of have to take your windows and you have to like pounce on them and kind of like go for it in that moment because you don't know if you're going to get another window of time to kind of win championships and stuff like that.
No, and I agree. And when I thought about what you put in the text chain today, that, even though the Padres are just what they're, I think, a half game behind us right now. And it's like, oh, they could easily take us, be above and below us throughout the course of the season. It is good for the Dodgers not to have to rest on their laurels, correct? And not
Yeah.
be dead.
I kind of want them to continue to like play really hard until the very end. Similar to
Yeah.
last year where they kind of just they couldn't take a day off because they're like, well, we have to like keep playing because they're right behind us and we have to earn a right to even make the playoffs because we have to be in the wild card game against Cincinnati, and we kind of have to earn a right to force more games at Dodger Stadium because we have no home field. We're going to Philadelphia, we're going to Milwaukee, we're going to Toronto. So you kind of had to earn last year's championship, which you ended
Mhm.
up doing. So I think it's a good thing to kind of like keep them uptight for the whole year up until like hopefully they clinch it like with a week or two to go, and then that's when you start game planning. Like, okay, like we're gonna have Yamamoto go game one, and then how do we go attack game two and stuff like that going forward. So hopefully these teams kind of do provide good competition because the last thing I want is to happen what happened. What was it, 2022 when we got smoked in the face basically, and then the following year as well too against Arizona where they were treating it like a regular season series, and it's not. It's the playoffs, and you get punched, you don't get a chance to get back up. They're going to take advantage, and they're going to knock you out the playoffs, basically.
And everyone's going to try to punch us and take us down any chance they get the second that we let up. So that's not the move for us to make. So you're absolutely right. We do have to kind of keep in mind that, when you're back to back champions, everyone's trying to, take you down. But kind of moving along to some former Dodgers that I really just wanted to hear your thoughts of, and kind of made some news this week. One of my favorite all-time players is Justin Turner, and he is, I guess, he has just signed with the Tijuana Toros in the Mexican League, right? Which I guess makes sense because his nickname used to be the Rojo Chingon when he
Yeah.
was on the Dodgers. So cool. But then this kind of makes me think. I know obviously he's not he's old, but he's old for baseball. He's getting there. Um, it makes sense. He doesn't want to hang up his cleats just yet. But do you think that retirement's imminent? What are your thoughts on him going to play for the Mexican League?
If no major league team wants you anymore, I think the writing is very much on that wall. I think this is just an opportunity to do something different, play in the Mexican League and stuff like that. For me, I think this is ultimately the writing on the wall. We'll see how he does down there, but if he doesn't have a good year, it might be time to kind of just lace them up and come be a coach somewhere for the Dodgers organization or work somewhere in our front office as an executive or something. But I'm excited for him. It's an opportunity to baseball, continue to play baseball. It's very clear that he doesn't want to close that chapter in his life yet. He feels he has a lot left to provide for a team. And let's say he does well in that league. Do you think like he might be a potential like pickup for a team late in the year? Like let's say there's injuries and stuff, and we kind of just need a veteran guy. Like if a major league team were to sign Justin Turner, I think Justin Turner would know like, hey, they're kind of expecting me to like not reach these certain numbers, but they kind of know like, okay, I'm going to be playing maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, and kind of giving a solidified guy like a day of breather and stuff like that, and kind of just fill my role, kind of pass wisdom down to young guys and stuff like that. But again, it's an opportunity just to keep playing. It's a little weird. When I first saw it, I thought it was fake, and then it got kind of confirmed by a bunch of other people. Like, no, this is actually happening. So I'm excited to see what he can do. If this is it, hopefully he performs very well and then he signs a 1-day contract and then he kind of retires with us.
That's what I want. And I also kind of want to kind of turn the same kind of question about our old boy Kenley Jansen, because just this past Saturday he hit, I guess, a record number of saves, career saves, with 478 as of last Saturday, tying Lee Smith for third place in MLB history. So would you like to see our boys Kenley Jansen and Justin Turner sign those 1-day contracts and retire Dodgers?
I'm actually interested to see how Kenley does the rest of the year, because if he does very well, there might be a chance that he plays again next year, whether it's for the Tigers or for a different team. For me, I don't know if he'll sign that 1-year kind of contract. I've always said that he's a Hall of Famer, and I'm going to stick by that. I think he is going to end up in the Hall of Fame, and I think eventually he'll be wearing that Dodger cap in the Hall of Fame. I feel like a lot of Dodger fans just kind of remember the bad. I tend to remember the good more than the bad. Yeah, I know it ended very badly. That last year was kind of like up and down roller coaster. Last 2 years were up and down roller coasters. But if I look at just the positive stuff, which I choose to do, he was a very, very good closer for us. I'm very happy that he's kind of solidified himself as one of the best closers in the game. He's gonna get 500 saves. It's like 20 short from reaching that milestone. So for me, I'm happy for Kenley. I'm happy that he's able to achieve this. For me, unfortunately, he kind of gets hindered in that, like, the people just remember the bad stuff, and for me, I'm always going to remember the good stuff.
There's so much good. I mean, I know we tend to kind of get spoiled here in LA, and we always want to win, never lose, and never have anything bad happen. But that's just not the game of baseball. If anything, we know that baseball is a game of failure. You fail more times than you succeed.
You succeed,
Really,
yeah.
right? But that he could tell how special the team is to him. But speaking of winning people, Dave Roberts is actually really close to a winning record. He has, in a regular season record, 958 to 579 win to loss record, 42 wins away from his 1,000. And so that just makes me think of how lucky we are to have him. But then it just kind of brought some stuff to mind this week that I wanted to ask you, kind of like a chicken and an egg question. Obviously, we know how we have an insanely good team. There's no question. Everybody knows it. But is our team, the current Dodger team, insanely good because we have Dave Roberts? Or is Roberts insanely good because he has an amazing team? Or a little of both? What do you think?
See, I would have argued that second one had we not won the past 2 championships, but I think Dave kind of proved that, like, no, he's a very good manager, because there was moments in each championship where he kind of played his gut and didn't do the analytical stuff that he used to get bashed for early on in his Dodger tenure. I think early on in his Dodger tenure, he kind of played it by the numbers too much, didn't really have a feel for, like, his players and stuff like that. And as he's kind of grown, and he's kind of grown into a manager as well too, now he kind of has a better understanding of, like, no, I'm going to stick with Blake Trinan because he's going to get this guy out. He's going to get Anthony Rizzo out in the 2024 World Series, and kind of, I'm going to stick with him because I'm not going to make eye contact with him. And, like, even players around him have kind of said, like, yeah, he's kind of adapted his ways. He's not, like, stuck in the way he used to be. And I feel like, again, we go back to the whole culture thing. He's a culture setter. He kind of doesn't take anything from anybody. He doesn't give special privileges to Shohei just because he's Shohei. No, he's going to treat everyone even keel, clean slate. And you've seen it, like, in during the offseason, they had the backstage Dodgers where, like, they were bringing in Will Klein into the team, and he kind of was like, hey, Will, like, my name's Dave, like, feel free to come in. You're a part of this team. For now, we'll see. Like, let's see if we can work it out and stuff like that. And Will Klein ended up getting the biggest outs for us in Game 3. So that's the whole point of, like, you want to have the right general leading your troops, and there's no other person that I would rather have than Dave Roberts leading these guys to battle, basically.
Agree. I think that he brings out the best in people. He knows his players. He knows, it's not one size fits all. He gets to know them as people. He knows who he can push, how he can push. He knows their buttons. He knows what they need. He knows what they don't need. And I think that, for all the fire Dave Roberts he's probably heard over the years, he has truly grown as a human, grown as a coach, really learned from things that worked and didn't work. And it's just so amazing seeing him at the top of his game right now. It's just fabulous. So not only do we have an amazing team, we really have an amazing behind the scenes of the team, and I just love that. But some fun things that happened again since we last recorded or last saw each other. It was actually the day we were at the stadium, April 10th, 1962. That was when Dodger Stadium opened. So it's been 64 years, and so first of all, happy birthday, Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
But I just love that place. It, to me, aside from being in my home, which is obviously my favorite place, to me, there's just something really amazing about driving up the hill, parking, walking in. I just have so much nostalgia from when I was young, just being there. But I want to know what your favorite thing about the stadium is as we wish a happy birthday to Dodger Stadium.
For me, it's always going to be the pavilions. The pavilions have just adapted so much over the years. Uh, but for me, I always think about like going to games as a kid, and I would always be sitting in the pavilions, playing with beach balls because at the time when you're a kid, you see a beach ball and you're gonna chase it and you're gonna try to hit it. Doing the wave, eating peanuts, popcorn, Cracker Jacks, you name it. And now as an adult, I think I enjoy the game more from the Loge level. I feel like that's kind of where like I end up being most of the time is the Loge. Best views, there's hard to argue any view. I think the best views are probably the level above the reserve. The reserve level has some awesome views, especially when it's like about to be sunset and you get that classic cotton candy sky that Vince Scully used to say. So for me, there's a lot of positives. The only negative is the parking lot situation, but other than that, it's kind of hard to complain about anything Dodger Stadium provides.
Oh, I absolutely love it. There's so many places. I probably could say that about, 20 or 30 different spots that I've had a amazing memory at. One of my favorite places to stand in, I did go this past week, and I kind of just make it a point to either take a picture there or just go stand there. I love the Jackie Robinson statue. I'm a big history person. And when I watched Jackie, the movie years ago, and just kind of even knowing what I knew and then just diving deeper into the history of Dodger Stadium, it really feels like not only it's a historic place, but it's really just one of the most progressive franchises in all of, MLB, for the fact that they've taken a chance on players that maybe at a certain time in history, that was not the norm. And to bring Jackie on, and now to have what we have as far as what I consider an extremely diverse team. I love seeing that. I love the music that you hear in Dodger Stadium. I like that it's all just kind of designed for not just, it's everybody. We're all a part of that. And you can just look around the stadium and you see so much, just so many, just different languages and different, cultures that are blending together and really enjoying the game of baseball. I love nothing more than seeing that. I don't like the parking. Oh my God. No, I get why people like say, oh, they come late. They literally, have you been to LA? Have you been on our freeways? I mean, you could like leave work halfway through the day and you're still not going to make it in time. But it is an incredible place to be. And it's just so many great memories. But just some kind of final things I just want to get your thoughts of. And I saw that this past week, some City Connects were released. I know people have their own opinions of what our City Connects look like, but different teams had them. They're kind of interesting. I don't know if anything stood out to you, but my question to you as we get ready to kind of close it out, are there any things that you'd want to see out of our future City Connects you think this would be really cool to have and that Dre could buy one day?
Yeah, see, look, we had this argument back like a week ago. Um, we talked about like City Connects and like the Dodgers wore this like very baby bluish kind of similar to this hat. Actually,
Yeah.
is a perfect example. It was kind of honoring Jackie Robinson, and like the picture that sticks out, it's like Andre Ethier on this side, Clayton Kershaw in the middle, and Matt Kemp on that side. And I feel like if they brought him back, a lot of people will. I would definitely buy it because I kind of like the whole like baby blue aspect. A lot of teams kind of have that baby blue aspect, and from the current ones that got released about a week ago, the only two that I like are actually the Pirates, but that's because I'm a Steelers fan, so black and yellow will always will stand out very good. And I hate to say it, the Padres have a nice, very City Connect uniform compared to the one they had prior years, where like it was just like mix and match of different colors, and like I didn't like it at all. But this one's very nice. It's very clean. I love a navy blue and like the orange little outliers is kind of a nice little touch to it. So City Connects are where they are, a money grab. But if they ever came out with like a baby blue Dodger jersey, I would be the first one to buy it.
Same. I'm holding out for that. I do buy the jerseys no matter what. I did buy the last Confetti City Connect, but I definitely would love to see something kind of go outside the box a little bit. But looking at your hat, you've got baby pink on there, and we have some Dodger babies that were just kind of either released in photos. Got the Mookie Betts photo with his baby daughter. You have Kyle Tucker, so congratulations to the Tucker and the Betts family. And I also think that Freddie's going to have about to have a little girl. That's why he's on paternity leave. I think her name's going to be London. So wishing nothing but the best to all of the families and the girl dads. But that brings me to the end of my notes. So do you have any final thoughts as we get ready to close it up?
No, no final thoughts. It's been a little frustrating the last two games, but I think they're going to bounce back tomorrow, and then they're going to have a good series against San Francisco.
I think so too. I'm not super worried. I spent a lot of the last couple of years stressed over the Dodgers, knowing that it's all gonna balance out in the end, and we're gonna be just fine. So nothing to fear. But yeah, that brings us to the end of our show. So don't forget to check out DodgersBeat.com for all of the latest articles. Make sure you check out Cody and Steve's articles on the daily. Make sure to check out the Bleed Lows Podcast YouTube channel. We've got a lot of great material day in and day out from producer Raj and the team, all behind the scenes interviews and the clubhouse interviews for you daily. Make sure to check out our handles. You can find me, Drea, on X and Instagram at Ravine Queen 1958. You can find Anthony on X and Instagram at Anthony Acosta _. And until the next show, let's go Dodgers.